What's up, guys? I just want to share a little bit of information with y'all. First off, for the new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Um, I just want to share with you a little bit of my um, history of stepping out in the prophetic, trying to discern God's voice from my own. So I'm going to go way, way, way back to my high school days when I was a junior. This was back in 2000, I think 2007, I believe, when I heard the Lord first speak to me. It wasn't an audible voice; it was just a thought. Um, but it was a thought that crossed my mind after I had an experience, a very, very hurtful experience, and I was very, very angry and frustrated, and I wanted payback very badly. And I got I got several words, but the one word that I got from God was this: "You will get your vengeance, because, but it's on my terms. You will get your vengeance, but it's going to be on my terms." And the scripture that came to my mind after I heard, had that going through my mind is, "Vengeance is mine, says the Lord." And the other thing that ran through my mind, and the other thing that ran through my mind was, "You will get your vengeance your senior year of high school, and everybody in the gym will be completely full, and you will have your vengeance. You will shoot a three-pointer in front of everybody, and everybody will know that I am God, and you will know that I am God." Those were the words that were going through my mind. Okay? I wasn't thinking about it. I was just thinking, I want payback for what happened, and God had different plans. I was very frustrated with God. I was very, very ticked off, beyond ticked off, and there is. So I said, in my, I wasn't. My mom was in the car with me, so I'm talking in my head. I said, "Okay, God, if this is you, you better basically prove it, because I'm really ticked off." And uh, and sure enough, He did. Uh, he did it my senior year of high school, um, and on that particular day, it actually happened. It was basically a holiday tournament during the Christmas holidays, um, and the entire gym was full with students and teachers and everything. Just as the Lord promised, it would be completely full. And I said, "God, if this is the day, let it happen. You promised me, so I am coming to you, and I'm going to say, I said, fulfill your promise, because I am very, very frustrated at you. I need you to fulfill your promise." And He said, "I am going to fulfill my promise." And this is when I started hearing His voice in my head. It wasn't an audible voice. I've never heard His audible voice, but I know when God was speaking to me. And sure enough, it was during the basketball game, of course. I was in the game for probably two full quarters. I think it was the later half of the game. So it was like the second half, third and fourth quarter. And so, like I said, the gym was completely full. And I uh, got the basketball, and, I was open. I missed the first shot, and I was really, really upset. I said some things I shouldn't have, but it was in the spur of the moment. Um, and But I told my teammate, I said, "When I get back down there, give me the ball." And sure enough, the next time I got the ball, I shot a three pointer in front of everybody, And because I have some physical challenges, being mobile was very, very difficult, and I got tired very, very easily. Um, so God fulfilled His promise, and everybody was there. Everybody saw, the majority of the school saw it, and God says, "Do you?" A thought goes through my mind. Do you believe me now? And I'm like, "Yes, I do. I believe you. I believe you." And He goes, This is just the beginning." So, um, the next stage of my prophetic life actually took place after I graduated high school. I went to live. I went to live in Australia for a few months, Perth, Australia, and that's when God was really speaking to me through dreams, visions, and giving me words of knowledge about people. I won't say the what some of the things that he said because those are personal. But one thing that the Lord showed me is He's always speaking, and He wants to speak to His kids, and He definitely wants to speak to me. And so I was really freaked out by the dreams that I had. I never really got dreams. And one thing I learned about dreams and why God gives me dreams is He's really trying to get something through to me. I don't get dreams that often, but when I do, I know when God is really trying to get something trying to grab my attention with something. And this was during the 2008 presidential election, the very first, presidency of Barack Obama, and I had some prophetic words about him. I'm not going to go into much detail about those, um, but one thing that the Lord told me in a dream, He said, "Don't worry about, uh, don't worry about it. I will have your back. I've always got you covered." And one thing that you're going to need to understand is when you get back home, not everybody is going to believe you. Even though you will say that, I've been hearing God's voice, they're going to say that you're crazy, but don't be afraid. Um, so again, I went to back home, um, and I started to dig more into the prophetic, and that's when I started searching up how does God speak to us I started looking online, and that's when I found out about John Paul Jackson and his ministry, Streams Ministries, and I saw that he interpreted dreams and visions or whatever, and that was his uh, ministry basically. And so I started following John Paul a lot more, and one of the things about that, which was very interesting, um, just the name reference, John Paul Jackson and John Paul Jackson. So, um, but I've been following his ministry for quite a while. Not as long as most of you probably have. But yeah, the next time I started getting more revelation was when I was going to college in at a college called Beacon College. I started getting revelation started praying for people and getting revelation for them, um, and I just kept continuing to study prophecy, and in fact, when I was at this college, I ran into a restaurant owner and his wife, and they were a ministry, and it's called God's Cafe. If you're ever out in Leesburg, Florida, go check them out. His ministry is amazing, great man of God, um, and he, kind of mentored me and taught me for the 2.5 years that I was there in Florida, um, in Leesburg, and I started to get more incidences or scenarios where God was speaking to me. And in fact, I was in this guy's restaurant called God's Cafe, and I was sitting in the back room, or in the prayer room that he had, because I was like, I really need to pray because God's really got something going in my heart. Can I go back there and pray? Because I was wanting to know about an incident that if God wanted me to minister to this young man that wanted me to minister to him. And when I was back there, I started to pray, and God said, no, I don't want you to minister to him. You've planted the seed. I will take care of the rest. There's somebody else that you need to minister to, and they will show up next, the year that you come back to Florida and come back to school. And I said, God, are you positive? And he goes, I'm not a liar. I have somebody that I need you to minister to, and he'll be here next year. And the other time where God was speaking to me was during the summer of that year. And after I got prophesied over by the gentleman who owns the God Cafe restaurant, he prophesied over me that I was going to help broken homes and broken families, or he and his wife did, actually. And I said, God, if this is from you, give me a sign, because I need to make sure, test every spirit. So I was praying about it one day, and God says, I need you to pray for somebody when you get back to Florida. And I said, well, who do you want me to pray for? And he gives, a thought runs through my mind again, pray for this specific person. And then anoint them with oil, and then I want you to leave. And so I went back to Florida, and I ran into this person, and I prayed for, I said, can I pray for you? Because for the during the summer, I couldn't get you out of my mind. Is everything okay? And she was like, I would really like some prayer right now. So I prayed for her, and she said, I'm about to go through another divorce, and I want to keep her name in confidence. So I'm not going to just blab her name, but I just started to pray, and I said, God, help this marriage, Lord. And I just prayed for her, and I anointed her with oil, and then I left. And God spoke to me and said, you did exactly what I told you to do. And you're stepping out and doing what I asked you to do. And so during the summer of 2012, another incident where I heard God's voice. I was going on a Bible museum tour. I went to a few places: London, Paris, Egypt, Greece, and Israel. And God said to me when I was in Israel, I have a message for you. Keep your eyes open when you go to Jerusalem and all the places where my son walked. And so as I was touring the Israel, I was starting to look where God would speak to me. And I went to the Garden Tomb. I got nothing. I didn't feel his presence there. I'm not saying I didn't feel his presence there, but I didn't get a revelation there. I didn't get a revelation at Gethsemane, or actually it was at Gethsemane where I got the revelation, but I didn't get it at other places where Jesus walked or did his ministry. But when I was at the Garden of Gethsemane, I had an encounter with the Lord. It wasn't like a physical manifestation or a vision where, everything disappears and you're standing in front of, Jesus is standing in front of me. But I felt the presence of Jesus, and I felt his pain and his sorrow, because of Gethsemane is where he was betrayed. And so the night he was betrayed, and he prayed for 3 hours, as all of you know, in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It gives you all the accounts of that time. And I felt his pain, I felt his sorrow, I felt his sadness, I felt his grief, everything. And I felt somebody's hand in my chest. It felt like somebody took my heart, pulled it out, and just I felt like something was replaced. And I said, in my head, I'm saying, Jesus, what are you doing? And he said, I am giving you a piece of my heart of how I felt that night. And it was how I felt about you. I was thinking about you the whole time. And I loved you so much, but I wanted to get out of it. And he said, I am coming quickly. Be on your guard. Keep your eyes on Jerusalem and the rest of Israel, because I am coming quickly. Be ready. And that was what was going through my mind at the time. And I just want to tell you guys, because I got a lot of criticism about, 10 dislikes, but more likes than dislikes. But a few people were like, "Oh, you're false. This is heresy. You're not legit." Guys, I want to tell you, God doesn't just speak to me. He can speak to anybody He chooses, and I want to be used by Him. So I just wanted to share with you guys just a little bit of my prophetic history and hearing God's voice, just to give you guys encouragement that if you're trying to hear God's voice but you're struggling, God is speaking. He's speaking all the time, and He wants to speak with you. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of my prophetic testimony. I'm not going to give you, maybe I'll come back and give you the rest of the stories that I have, but maybe I'll save that for another time. So I hope this video encourages you. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to click the bell to be notified, and leave a comment. And I would like to hear some of your prophetic testimonies. So please be encouraged, and I just pray that this video has encouraged you and uplifts you, and more videos will be coming soon. So be on the lookout for them. All right, guys. Talk to y'all later.